Hey everyone, GGinspire here, ready to inspire another day. Very excited. This is an awesome day for us, and actually it's really interesting. Today we're going to kind of turn the tables a little bit and ask you some of your thoughts and your inspirations and things that make you you. So I'm going to invite a few people in. I definitely want to make sure I get an opportunity to share with the world what we're doing here. Now I just have to figure out how to do that. It's so funny. I know a lot of people have the opportunity to have been able to get on and see go live and have been, sending me comments. I appreciate you all for getting on. Hi, Erica. Hi, Ardena. Hi, Alex. I'm seeing a lot of people, that have been inspired by some of what we've been talking about and been starting to, take better steps in their lives to be able to control their mind and inspire them to keep going and do things at a better level for them, right? And for them and their families. So I'm hoping I can figure out how to do this and I can invite some other people. Thank you so much, Angie. My dad actually just brought this for me from Israel. So he brought me this beautiful gift and I was like, oh, I love it. It's so cute. And he was like, do you really like it? Or are you just, pretending like you like it? I said, no, I really like it. I'll actually wear it. So very excited. Okay, so I'm hoping I can figure out. So, hey, if you guys can do me a favor, can you invite some people in, because I'm having a little bit of a hard time, and I know I was trying to get Jason on here with me with Jasmine. So, oh, here it is, invite friends. So let me see what I can do. I'm going to invite a few people in, and feel free to do the same thing. Invite a few people, share this, and we're going to talk a little bit today about our imperfections and how to get past those. I read a quote from Oscar Wilde. Hold on, I don't want to butcher it. Oh yeah. It's be yourself. Everyone else is taken. So that's our job, is to go out and be ourselves and be the best selves we know how to be. So let me invite a few more people in, and today's going to be awesome. Super excited. Thanks for jumping on. Please let me know where you guys are. If you're in LA, or if you're in Texas, if you're in South Carolina, what city you're in, where you're coming from. Let me move this back a little bit. Get this adjusted. Sorry, Instagram. We're good now. Okay. Alrighty. Cool. So, all right, we have a lot of people join. Awesome. Okay, so here's what I want to be able to do. I want to share with you guys some basic tips, and I really want to get some interaction. Oh, Alex is in Atlanta. Awesome. I was actually just on the phone with a couple people from Atlanta, and we're working on a huge project there. I'm super, super excited. It's one of those things. It's funny because Jason and I have been reading Think and Grow Rich, right? And by Napoleon Hill, and we were reading last night about how you have to put yourself in a place where you're at least a half an hour a day. Now I'm going to butcher all of the words that it talks about, but I'm just going to give you the gist. And it says you need to put yourself in a position that a half an hour a day you are sitting and visualizing and envisioning the person that you want to become, the person that you intend to become. So if you're visualizing that, so I was sitting down here a few minutes ago and I was getting some stuff done. I won't give you guys all the details, but I was sitting and I was being quiet, right? And I was really thinking about, oh, I'm going to use this to my advantage, and I'm going to take this opportunity to sit and, think about the person that I want to become. And then I got this awesome phone call that I've been waiting for about 3 or 4 days. And so it was like perfect timing. And I thought to myself, see, this stuff works, right? When, it's interesting, I was watching something earlier about my friend Erica on our team and our business. She sent a video, and one of the little parts of the clips was like a boxer. And this is one of the last people that you would think would be saying, like, you need to, you need to believe it. You need to really ask for it. You need to fully, wholeheartedly believe it, and you'll get it and you'll receive it, right? And so a lot of people think that that's like hokey kind of talk, and it's like silly, and it doesn't work, and it's like Pollyanna, and it's like, oh, blah, blah, self-help kind of stuff. That stuff works, right? And you put your mind to something long enough, when you're passionate about something and you put your energy towards it, you attract it into your life. So you have to take those steps. And by the same token, if you're attracting things into your life that you don't want, it's because you're thinking too much about the stuff that you don't want, like debt, like people that don't agree with you, like stress, money issues, all that kind of stuff. You're thinking about that stuff too much, because if you're thinking about it too much, it starts to come into your life more frequently. So you have to watch what you're thinking about, because it becomes a reality. So, okay. All right. Hi, Jazz. My daughter's watching today. She's on spring break, and I was trying to figure out how to get her in, to patch her in to go live with us today, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. So I got to get somebody who's more technical than me. Hey, Liz, how are you? Hey, Corey. Hey, Yvonne. Hey, Danny. Charles. Oh, this is awesome. We're gonna like a great day today. Okay, so I gave you guys my quote. My quote is, be yourself. Everyone else is taken. That's what Oscar Wilde said. So I'm going to talk today a little bit about imperfections. Like, how do we all have them, right? Like, even on our bodies, we have our little things that are like weird. You know, you all have those. Or you have the little nubbins or the little thing that you're like, oh, this is like totally way bigger than the other side or whatever. We all have those imperfections. But what we have to learn how to do is how to embrace them and make them good. Like, I have a ton of imperfections, a lot. And I'm sure, don't comment on those, Jason. You can just leave those. You know, we don't need to let everybody know what you think of my imperfections. But I've got some, right? I've got a lot. So I'll share with you some of mine. But one of the things that we have to do as humans is that we have to accept that humans are messy. Like, we are just messy creatures. Stuff goes on. Things happen. Like, we're just, right? We have a lot of stuff that goes on all the time. And so we have to accept the fact that that goes on. If you accept your imperfections and love them, right? You may not, look, it's going to take time for you to love them. And in the beginning, you might be like, okay, I'm just okay with accepting them. Then they can eventually turn into something that you're proud of, right? Something that you appreciate, right? But here's the deal. If you are authentic enough to appreciate your imperfections and be able to let somebody know, here's an imperfection and here's something real about me, that authenticity goes a long way, because everybody has them, but most people are afraid to talk about them, right? So our imperfections make us, right? They make us real. So here's one for me. So here's one that I've been working on, and I've mentioned it actually several go lives before. One of the things that I've noticed about myself is that I have to start practicing the 90-second rule. So when somebody says something to me that I don't like, or I like, that makes me angry or upset or what have you, I have to work on, instead of reacting right away, I have to stop and think and be calm and work on what's the best solution for whatever it is this is that bothers me, and then go forward from there. It doesn't always work that way though. Like, is anybody out here? Hey, you guys comment and let me know. Do you guys ever have like bad reactions to things? Do you ever have things that you think, oh, when you say it, and then you're like, oh man, I wish I would have just backed up and I didn't say it that way? Like, let me know, because let me tell you what, like, I beat myself up all the time thinking about like, oh, I should have said it this way, or I should have said it that way, or like, what if I had done that differently, or was that bad, was that mean? I think about it with my kids all the time. I'm sure my daughter, you know, she could type, I'm sure she would say, yeah, sometimes you're this, or sometimes you're that. And so we're all a work in progress, right? But it's okay. Hi, Susie. It's okay to be a work in progress, but you have to continue working at it. You can't just go, oh, well, hey, there's nothing to learn here, like, I'm good to go. And so that is ugly. Right? The fact that you can be in a position where you feel like, I'm totally perfect, I've got nothing to learn, I've got nowhere to grow, that's not going to get you anywhere. Okay, so we have to start realizing that we have lots to appreciate and lots to grow into and get better, because that's what life is about. It's about growth. It's about becoming the person that you were destined to be. Ed Milet actually talks about it all the time. And I got this topic kind of from Ed Milet today. He talked about we have so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect, and Angie actually posted it. We have so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect all the time that we're beating ourselves up. Hey, just appreciate the fact that we're works in progress and we're going to continue to get better. That's really important. So bad reactions all the time. Charles, you got some of those? My foot stays in my mouth. Yeah, sometimes I feel like I need to surgically remove my foot out of my mouth, because I do stuff like that all the time. But it's because, you know, you think of something and then it comes directly out of your mouth before you had a chance to like filter it and think about like, how is it going to be received by the person that I'm talking to, or the people that I'm talking to. So yeah, feel free to add in any of the imperfections or things that you're working on. Thanks, Charles, for putting in. Okay, use your weaknesses as strengths. So what you have is considered a weakness. Like, I would say, I mean, I think I have a lot of weaknesses also. One of them is that the perfection part is really challenging, right? Like, I strive to be perfect all the time. I'm like, oh, I came from school, right? So I remember, like, when a teacher would stand up in front of me and they tell me this is how it should be, this is how it should be, then I would take that and go, oh, okay, this is how it should be, this is how it's going to be. But life is not perfection. Life doesn't work that way. So you have to, like, I always put this huge amount of pressure on myself to be super perfect and to do things exactly by the book the way they were supposed to be done. Yes, the book was written so that you have the rules based on what's going to happen or what should happen, but nothing ever goes by the book. You always have outliers, and you always have things and life and happenstance and things like wrenches that get thrown in. And so you have to be flexible and you have to be able to adjust. That's something that I find is a huge weakness of mine, because it distracts me. Because I may get in a position where I'm like, okay, it's supposed to be this way, it should be this way. And then if it's not that way, then I spend all this time thinking about how come it's not that way. And it, you know, it takes me off of my game. It takes me off of what I need to be able to focus on, which is it's progress. It's not perfection. You need to keep going and you need to keep getting better, right? So you need to stay on the same path that you were on, because actually when you have roadblocks, you have wrenches get thrown in the mix, those are the things that actually show you you are on the right track. Because if you're heading down the right road, stuff's going to come up. Think about even when you're driving, like there's something in the road that you run over, whatever, right? So, okay, let's see what else. Most of us focus on our weaknesses or imperfections. Yeah, and because you focus on your weaknesses and your imperfections, you get more of them, right? Or they become bigger in your mind, and they are outwardly noticed by other people. So how do you not focus on the imperfections when they're always glaring at you? Well, let's start by this. What is it that you want, right? If these are imperfections in your personality, your mindset, your body, what have you, what is it that you want? You have to start to really shift your focus, and maybe even do an exercise and think about like writing it down. What is it that I want? I want to be the kind of person that reacts calmly to things. I want to be the kind of person that is, you know, takes a few moments to collect themselves and really give the response that I think is appropriate or best in that situation. That's what I want, right? I want to be the person that's not so worried about being perfect. I want to be the person that's moving forward. And even though it may be messy, right, I'm still able to move forward and to be able to make things happen, right? I'm still progressing. That's what I meant. And still progressing, even though it's not perfect. And so we have to be mindful of that and really focus on what it is that we want. And it's not enough to just think about it one time. It's something that you have to like write down and focus on and remind yourself all the time, because if that's the person that you want to be, who is whatever it is that you want, right? And what we're talking about, whatever it is that you want, if that's the person that you want to be, then you have to focus on, and you have to remind yourself constantly. You spent, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years with this same mindset. It's going to take you a long time to change your mindset, but it can be done, and it will be uncomfortable at first. But as you keep doing it, it becomes a habit, right? Like if you think about it this way, like working out, right? Like I don't work out a ton, and that's one thing that I have to work on, right? We have our little elliptical inside, so I've been doing it. Jason brought it inside, so I'm really happy that he did, and he's been making it because I haven't been doing it as much as I should, but I will, okay? But think about it this way. So when you go and you pick up weights, right? Like if you started and you hadn't worked out in a long, long time, a 2, 3, 4, 5 pound weight is, pretty light, no big deal. But you have to get to the point where that 2, 3, 4, 5 pound weight is really light, and then you can move on to the next one. But you've got to continuously push yourself a little bit, but it's a habit, right? It's a habit of starting to like make sure that your muscles are used to working out and stretching themselves and, gaining strength. And muscles have to rip a little bit in order to be able to gain strength. Did you guys know that? So you have to, it's not pain-free to be able to succeed and be able to like get to the place where you want to go. It involves pain. It involves discomfort. It involves just trying to like figure out like, how am I going to do this? And that's okay. It's part of the process. Like success is not convenient, and it's definitely not easy. I don't know any successful person that said like, oh, it was a breeze. Like no problem. I basically felt like I could just roll out of bed and just make it happen. It doesn't work that way. Okay. So use your weaknesses as your strengths. Turn them into something, right? But you have to take that effort and take those steps to turn it into something, and that takes time. Hey, Illumide. Hey, Jeffrey. How you doing? Okay, Angie, I think it's important to look at the person you are today and see your growth. Focus on what has been accomplished. Yeah, reward yourself for the things that you have done, right? Like it's so easy to beat yourself up for everything that you do wrong, but it takes more effort for you to start thinking about what is it that you have accomplished? What is it that you've been able to achieve, and what have you been able to create? Like if you look behind you, right? If you have a family, if you have kids, you have a job, you have a car, you have so many things to be grateful for that you have accomplished in your lives. Why are we not focusing on that? We're not taught that, right? We're taught to focus on, you always got to get better, you got to improve, and here's what's wrong, you did this wrong, you did this wrong. Like they mark your paper in school with a big red marker, like all the minuses that you have. Yes, we're not rewarding all the things that we did. But so we have to start focusing on what we've accomplished and then also thinking about what we want. So we can stay in that positive mind frame where we're thinking about the good, but knowing that we want more. The negative starts to minimize and eventually it starts to go away. That's the goal, right? Erica, okay. How do you shake it off when it makes you feel weird? Well, what makes you feel weird? What do you mean? I think that if I understand your question, right, and maybe you're going to clarify it for me, I think that when the feeling of having to like change yourself and get better, it is uncomfortable. And it is a little weird, I guess, in the beginning, but you have to keep doing it. That's the thing. Until it starts to feel normal, like self-improvement and growth and kind of getting out of your comfort zone, it will feel weird in the beginning, but the idea is that as you do it more, it becomes more comfortable. And so part of also that journey of getting to be, where you want to be in life and eventually meet the person that you're meant to be, it's being comfortable uncomfortable, right? So you have to be okay with that. Like I was for years and years and years, and I still have a hard time being uncomfortable, but we have to, because comfort is not where growth happens. It just doesn't exist that way, right? Discomfort. We don't learn and grow by winning. We learn and grow by losing, by screwing it up, right? Because when you win, it kind of gives you this false sense of like, oh, I'm pretty awesome, like I'm fantastic. But when you lose, you're like, man, I have got to shore up some things. I got to get better. Like, what can I do to improve? Those are the times where you actually take the steps to work on yourself and get better fast, right? Versus when you win, you're like, I'm awesome, right? Okay. Ebony, okay, I look at my imperfections as part of my strength and I grow from them while I change those. And I grow from them while I change those that can be changed. I've learned to embrace those that I can't. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people love and respect. And it's because of our imperfections. You're right. The idea is your imperfections make you, right? And so you have to appreciate them, and grow through them and work on getting better because of them or in spite of them, right? Like your friends, the people that you're friends with, or your spouse, the person that you spend your life with, even your kids, right? They love you and they still know you have imperfections. They love you. Oftentimes they love you because of them, and sometimes they don't. But what happens is that there's still that love there, and they love you in spite of those, and they appreciate you because of them. Like one of the things that I appreciate about Jason, and I don't always tell him, is that he knows I'm a crazy person. He knows I'm a woman that will stay up like almost all night, and that I will constantly focus on one thing, and I'm like obsessive, and I'm crazy in some ways, like crazy good in some ways. But he loves me in spite of it, right? He loves me, I think, because of it in a lot of ways, because he's like, that's a quality that I wish I had more of, right? That ability to focus and that drive and that perspective to be able to keep going. But that in some ways it can be too much. Like I can look at it as an imperfection because it's too much, right? But at the same time, a lot of other people may look at it and go, wow, that's a really great quality. I appreciate that about that person. So maybe you see it as an imperfection, but other people might see it as a huge, value, right? So you just never know what those are. Should we fix our imperfections? Well, if you want to assess your imperfections and figure out like how are they affecting you, right? Is it something that's affecting you in a negative way, or is it something that maybe makes you unique, right? It's hard when we're not being totally specific, but your imperfections make you. But if there's something that is causing you to not progress, or is it holding you back in some way, shape, or form, then yeah, you need to work on making the adjustments to it. It just depends on what it is. But we also have to be really objective and take a realistic view of what's going on in our lives, and take that objective reality. Mental toughness talks about that objective reality, and really take an honest assessment of where we are, and are those imperfections that I have, are they helping me, or are they hurting me? And one of the things that I know about successful people is that they're very introspective and they're constantly working to improve themselves and get better. Are you one of those people? Or are you kind of like, well, yeah, I have them, so what? Hopefully I'll be successful in spite of them. Well, maybe not. And so you have to be realistic with yourself and realize that it may not happen, but what are those imperfections, right? Be honest with yourself about them. Okay. So number 3, I know I've been kind of all over the place because I've been answering you guys. I've been awesome with putting all your questions together. I love it. So be sure of your direction. like stay true to what feels intrinsically right for you. So like if you feel like, you know, one of those imperfections or something that you're working on makes you whole, and it's something that makes you feel good about who you are, then keep doing it. Don't compromise yourself for other people. If somebody tells you that that's an imperfection, maybe that's their opinion, right? So you also have to assess, like I was just saying, like, are those imperfections helping you or hurting you? And are they good for you, but maybe not good for somebody else, right? So you kind of have to be sure in your gut and in your heart what feels right for you. So you don't want to completely change and be somebody else. You don't want to take everything off the table and do something different than what feels normally right for you. Go with your gut, right? Don't hurt yourself because you're trying to be like somebody else, right? Because you're you, right? We're all we've got. Okay. And here's the other thing that took me a long time. Learn to laugh at yourself. Don't take things so seriously, right? Life is too short to be so serious all the time. That's something it's taken me a long time to learn, and I am still working on, right? Because I'm very like, okay, has to be this way. Oh my gosh, if it's not that way, like, right? So you have to remember not to take things so seriously, right? Now, when people get to know you and love you and care about the person that you are, they forgive the imperfections, right? Like we were talking about. But sometimes imperfections are going to happen. That stuff is always going to happen. We all have them. And so you have to remember that if you can have a good sense of humor about it, you're going to be better off. Life's too short to spend your time so worried about what other people think all the time. Like, don't you feel exhausted worrying about what other people think so much? It gets so stressful sometimes. Life's too short for that. We like exert our energy trying to make sure everything's perfect and, you know, that we've got control over everything. Eventually, like, we're so exhausted because we're spending our time trying to control everything that it's really tough, right? So that's my best message, I think, today. You know, I think that, you know, what I do is, what we do is we work in an industry that is pretty demanding, but we also work with people, and people can be pretty demanding as well. Not because they're so like, hey, I need your time, hey, I need this, not in a bad way, but more so of the fact that like they desire help, right? They need help. They want mentorship, right? One of my mentors, Michael Coleman, called me the other day and he said, how you doing? And I said, I'm good, you know, and he said, well, you know, I want to ask you a question, like, how is everything? Do you ever feel like you get distracted? Do you ever feel like this? Do you ever feel like that? And I said, yeah, I do, you know, and I said, I honestly, I was like, you know, I feel like I get in a place where I'm like I'm on track, and I'm telling you guys things that work for me, right? So I'm on track, and something happens and I have to put out a fire, and then I get distracted and I get off my game, which is what I was just telling you guys that you have to work on not doing, to stay focused on what you're doing that is moving you forward and helping you progress. So we all have those issues, right? And I was talking to him about it, and he said, here's what he said. He said, you need to make sure that you're focused and you're visualizing your success and you're seeing things happen for you all the time. So when you're in that space that something gets distracted, and you can work on what those are, but you still have that vision of creating the success in your life and the victories that you want to have, right? So that's really, really important. And I want to make sure that you guys heard that, because that's something that I was coached on, somebody who's been in business for years and years and years and years and years, right? But many of us are just starting our businesses. This is a station for entrepreneurs. This is an opportunity for people to get better and improve their lives because they take the steps to improve themselves. It's self-development, it's mindset, it's vision, it's work ethic, it's growth, it's turning into the best possible person that you can. And that is not always easy. It should never be easy, right? So I appreciate you guys getting on. If anybody has any other questions, let me know. This is a really fun live. I appreciate how interactive you guys have been. This has been great. And hopefully next time I'll be able to figure out how to get somebody to go live with me from a remote location. And I think I can do it really easily on my phone, but for some reason on the computer, I'm having a little tough time. But any other last minute questions, and then we'll go. Oh, it looks like I had a couple. Imelda. Hi, Imelda. I'm glad you're here. I'm very straightforward with people, and for some reason, people judge me in a very negative way. Okay, so you know what? I want to address that. I think it's perfectly fine to be direct with people. Be honest with people, okay? That's one of the things, like I've talked about it before. Andy Frisella talks about, like, dude, look, you guys, like most people, they're not honest with people. They're trying to sugarcoat it, and they're trying to be like, oh, well, you know, okay, like I kind of didn't like the way you said that. Just be honest with people, right? So Imelda, I want to applaud you for being somebody who takes the steps to be straightforward and direct with people, because ultimately they appreciate it. But here's the deal. They may get mad at you for a second, but they're going to appreciate the fact that you were honest with them, because most people are not. Most people are trying to sugarcoat, and they're trying to be like super sweet, and they're trying to beat around the bush, especially we're like that in California. Like we're trying to beat around the bush and not tell anybody because we don't want to hurt their feelings. But ultimately, who are you hurting? You're hurting them by not giving them the direct, actual, factual information. And you're also hurting yourself because you're not growing, because it makes you feel uncomfortable to share with them directly what's going on. So do yourself a favor and do them a favor. Be honest with people. Tell them what's going on. Tell them how you feel. And hopefully, you know, they'll appreciate you for it. And if not, like, hey, look, you know, you're not lying to them. You're being straight up. So you don't have to be mean to them. You don't have to be rude. But at the end of the day, like, you being honest with them is going to help them a lot more than you think. So you should definitely keep on it. Oh, it looks like I missed a ton of questions. How do you handle others who negatively judge you based on your imperfections? If somebody's going to judge me based on my imperfections, then they're probably not somebody that I'm going to spend a lot of time with. You know, I may appreciate some parts of them, but I'm probably not going to spend a lot of time, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time worrying about what they think about me. I really don't want to worry about what other people think about me. Okay. Oh, Jazz agrees. Oh, good. Same question. Oh, okay. So I'm going to, I get bullied at work a lot. I'm going through it as we speak. People are negative. You know what? Forget them. You know what? You can literally turn a blind eye to those people and shut them off, right? And if you spend your time thinking about what you want, Imelda, honestly, you got to focus. You need to watch The Secret, by the way. That movie is absolutely incredible, and I think you'll really appreciate. There's one particular story I think you'll really appreciate. But here's the deal. When you focus on what you want and what you want to create, miraculously, the people that don't fall in line with that, somehow they disappear, or they're transferred out, or they're distanced away from you. And so take advantage of that. Focus on what you want. Don't worry so much about, the people that are mad at you, because as you are worrying about it, you're putting energy to it, it's going to create more of it. So I hope that helps. And we can talk more offline. Is there a good book to read on imperfection? That's a really great question, Stacey. I think that The Magic of Thinking Big is an excellent book, because it really helps you focus on, what is important to direct you. Think and Grow Rich is an excellent book. Mental Toughness is a great one. I know you've read that one. But I think The Magic of Thinking Big is really good, because I think what happens is that we frame things in a way that are like palatable, or like that we can accept. But we need to take them a little bit differently. And so if you reframe things in a way that makes them positive or gives you a different perspective, like even reframing the negative in your life to find the positive, to always find the positive. That's one thing that my mom's always done. She's a super positive person, and she's always been like, oh, it's so sunshiny this morning, when I'm like, oh, it's early, right? But she's always found a way to be positive, and that's something that I didn't really appreciate until I got into business, right? Okay. And what else? Any other questions? Oh, Stacey, you're so sweet. Oh my gosh, there's tons of comments. I love this. Stephen, you're awesome, and I'm super excited to have you on our live today. You know what? Yes, God made you the way that he wanted. Perfect. You're awesome just the way you are. But you know what? There's certain parts of you that you're going to work on, and that's okay. Like, the whole idea is to be able to grow and improve and get better. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you have an absolutely incredible day. Like, stay dry out there. I'm hoping that, I haven't looked at the weather, but I'm hoping that we're going to get some sunshine again soon. And it's going to be a phenomenal week. We've got actually a huge event coming up on Saturday morning at 9:30. So message me for details. But thank you very much for getting on. GGinspire another day. And be inspired for a great life, guys. Go out there and have an incredible day. Be inspired for a fabulous life.